Good morning, everybody. So in the last video, we learned how to do SHG level data set. And now we will learn how to do the VO level data summary sheet and data collection formats. So as we all know that we had taken flower VO, which is in Fulera Gram Panchayat, and it has two SHGs. In this format, after filling the format, what the facilitator has to ensure is that the seal and signature of the VO leaders are mandatorily mentioned here so that it is approved by the VO leaders that this is the VO summary sheet and the data collection format that they want to take ahead and submit in the Gram Sabha. So first of all, while doing the VO data summary sheet, we have to fill the present status of the SHGs under the VO and the plan for upcoming year. So in the present status table, as you can see, there are 5 rows in which we have to write different sorts of information. For example, the first row is about the total number of households in VO or Panchayat level federation jurisdiction. So in Flower VO, we have 60 households. The number of households covered in SHGs, 30. Total number of SHGs existing, there are 2 SHGs. Total number of SHGs who have received RF, 1. And total number of SHGs who have accessed bank loan is 1. The plan for upcoming year will have the number of households to be brought under SHG fold. So the VO plans to bring 10 households under SHG fold. Number of SHGs to be provided RF, 1. And the number of SHGs that will access bank loan, 1. What we have to remember is that it is a hypothetical situation, and when a facilitator is going to fill these formats, all these columns will remain blank and it has to be filled according to the data of the respective VO where they are filling it. So as we know that in the last SHG data collection format, we had learned entitlement data collection for Narega job card, MG Narega work demand and old age pension. So now I will teach you how to consolidate that data at the VO level. So now what you are seeing is the same SHG level data which we had filled last time. The MG Narega job card from the Rose SHG and the Lotus SHG. So here we can see that from Rose SHG there are 2 beneficiaries and from Lotus SHG there are 1, 2, 3 beneficiaries. Now when we are filling the VO summary sheet for Narega job card, we have to do nothing but to count the total number of beneficiaries under job card in each SHG. So the columns are serial number, name of SHG, number of beneficiary. So the Rose SHG, as I have shown you, has how many beneficiaries? 2 beneficiaries. I will show you this once again. I will go back to Rose SHG's data, which is here. You can see Rose SHG 1 and 2, Seema Biswas and Parmeena Baker. So the facilitator will count the number of the beneficiary and will fill it here in the VO summary sheet. No other details needs to be provided here except of the number of beneficiaries. Similarly, in Lotus SHG, we have 3 beneficiaries. So the total number of beneficiaries under Flower VO for job card comes about as 5. What the facilitator has to ensure is that below this VO summary sheet, the SHG data of Rose SHG and the Lotus SHG is also attached. This way, if somebody like the Gram Panchayat president or secretary wants to see who are the 2 beneficiaries under Rose SHG, they can just go down and see the attached pages and understand that the 2 beneficiaries are Seema Biswas and Parmeena Begum. In a very similar way, we will do for new job card for beneficiaries outside SHG fold. So what we have to understand here is that we take the data of the beneficiaries from the outside of the SHG fold at the VO level. This data is not filled at the SHG level in order to avoid duplication and any sort of repetition. So while the VO consolidation and summary sheet is getting prepared, the VO also has to do a discussion as to who are the vulnerable and the poorest of the poor members who have not been brought under the SHG fold until now and are in need of new job card. Their names and their other details like name of the beneficiary outside SHG fold, name of the head of the household, and what name and number has to be filled here. This has to be done in the consultation of all the SHG EC members who will be present during the VO consolidation sheet preparation. In a similar way, when we go and do the consolidation for MG Narega job card, we can see that at the SHG level, Rose SHG has 2 work that has been demanded and Lotus SHG has 1 work. When we fill the VO summary sheet for the same, what we see is that the work demand for individual work comes about as Rose SHG having 2 work demand and Lotus SHG having 1 work demand. So the total number of demands come about as 3. Here we are not mentioning or taking the data of the members from outside the SHG fold. Now I will teach you how to fill in the VO consolidation or summary sheet for schemes like old age pension. As we all know that from Rose SHG, 2 beneficiaries had come, Deepak Biswas and Parmeena Begum, and from Lotus SHG, 1 beneficiary, Iramul Islam. So when we go on to fill the VO summary sheet, we see that there are 3 columns: serial number, name of SHG, number of beneficiary, very similar to the previous one, and we write the name of SHG, and next to it in the column of number of beneficiary, we write the number of beneficiaries in that SHG. So the total from the Rose and Lotus SHG comes about as 3. Here we will go on and also fill the data for the people who are eligible for old age pension but are not under the SHG fold and belong to the vulnerable and the poorest of the poor category. So the VO, Flower VO, has identified 2 people who are outside the SHG fold, who do not belong to Flower VO or any SHG like Rose SHG or Lotus SHG, but are in need of old age pension because they are the most vulnerable and poorest of the poor. So the details in the form of name of beneficiary outside the SHG fold, name of the head of the household, what name and number has been provided for Miseria Khatun, Kabir Khatun being the head of the household, and her ward name and number being Daudpur 1. Similarly, it has been done for Pinky Lal. Now we will go on to learn how to do the VO summary sheet for livelihood data collection. So at the SHG level, we had filled in these formats where we can see that for individual farming, Rose SHG had demanded for, in Rose SHG, 2 members had demanded for individual farming, and under Lotus SHG, again 2 members have demanded for individual farming. While filling in the summary sheet, what we have to make sure is that we have to write the number of SHG members who are interested in individual farming, and then we have to write the number of SHG members farming on own land and the number of SHG members farming on leased land. So in Rose SHG, as we all know, 2 members wanted to do individual farming, and even in Lotus SHG, 2 members wanted to do individual farming. Now we have to also write that out of these 2 members who are interested in doing farming on their own land and who are interested in doing farming on leased land. So when we go back and see, in Rose SHG, 1 person wants to do it on own land and 1 person wants to do it on leased land. Similarly, from Lotus SHG, 1 person wants to do it on leased land and the other person wants to do it on own land. So here we have written that in Rose SHG, 1 person on own land, 1 on leased land, and in a similar way for Lotus SHG. Now I will teach you again how to do the VO consolidation or summary sheet for group farming. So group farming, again under Rose SHG, 1 person wants And under one SHG, we can see that 3 people are interested in doing group farming. So we have written 3 as the number of people who want to be in the group, and their names have been listed here. Similarly, from Lotus SHG, again 3 people are interested in taking up group farming. So when we go on and see the VO summary sheet, there are 4 columns that have to be filled. The name of the SHG, the number of groups that are interested in group farming, number of groups farming on own land, and number of groups farming on leased land. So in Rose SHG, as we saw, that the number of groups interested were 1. So what we have to keep in mind is that we have to write the number of groups, not the number of individuals within that group who are interested in group farming. I would again like to go back and show it to you that 3 people in one group want to take up in Lotus SHG group farming. So hence, when we are filling the VO summary sheet, the group number will come about as only 1. In a very similar way also, in Rose SHG, 3 people who wanted to be in one group and wanted to start group farming has to be here written as 1. Now, out of this one in Rose SHG, they want to start group farming on their own land, while in Lotus SHG, they want to start group farming on leased land. So the total number of beneficiary comes about as 2, who want to do on own land 1, and who want to do on leased land 1. Now, while filling in the VO summary sheet for group farming, what we have to also understand is that we will fill a summary sheet for the kind of support that is required for both individual and group farming. So the support, like loan, so we will go back to the SHG sheet and see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From both the individual and group farming, 5 people are interested in getting loan. So the type of support will be loan, and the total number of support required will come about as 5. Similarly, the subsidy requirement is 2 from both Rose SHG and Lotus SHG, encompassing individual and group farming. So the total comes about as 7. Here again, farming for beneficiaries outside SHG fold has to be also captured. So here, one member who is not from Flower VO wants to take up farming. The head of the household is Ashok. The ward name and number is Molpara. This person wants to take up individual farming on leased land, and the support required is loan. We will not be including it in our summary sheets. This will be altogether a very separate format that will capture the data of people who are interested in doing farming outside the SHG fold. In a very similar way, we will learn how to do VO summary sheet for animal husbandry. So here we can see that in Rose SHG, 2 people are interested in animal husbandry. One of them is interested in cattle and goatry. One of them is interested in poultry. They want cow and goat, poultry shed, loan. In Lotus SHG, only one person is interested in animal husbandry. They want to take up piggery and cattle, and the support they require is in the form of pigs and cows. So when we go and do its VO summary sheet, we will do it a bit different from how we have done it for farming. In the scenario of animal husbandry, we will take both the demands of the individual and group demands that have come under the SHG sheet. Like here, one of the group wants to take up animal husbandry from Rose SHG, and one group wants to take up from Lotus SHG. So then, while preparing the VO summary sheet, we will have a column saying name of SHG, then number of individuals demanded for individual animal husbandry, and number of groups demanded for group animal husbandry. So we saw that in Rose SHG, 2 people wanted to do individual animal husbandry, and number of groups that demanded to do animal husbandry was 1. That one group had 3 members who wanted to together take up animal husbandry. Similarly, in Lotus SHG, we saw that only one person was interested in taking up animal husbandry individually, and there was one group which had 3 members who wanted to take up animal husbandry. So total number of beneficiaries comes about as 3 here and 2 here. Now we will also again for animal husbandry summarize the kinds of supports that the people have demanded. So the total number of cow demanded was 2, goat 1, pig 1, poultry shed 1, loan 3. So the total comes about as 8. I can show you out of this one of the support by going back to the SHG sheet as to how it has been counted. For example, we take loan. So now when I go back to my SHG demand 1, 2, 3. 3 loan has been demanded, and hence in the VO summary sheet where we are summarizing the type of support, loan is 3. This VO summary sheet will also capture the data for the beneficiaries who are outside the SHG fold and belong to the vulnerable and the poorest of the poor category. So here one person who is Afreen Bano, who is from outside the SHG fold, wants to take up poultry and wants to take it up individually. So the type of support that is required is low. Now I will teach you how to do the VO summary sheet for micro enterprise. So under micro enterprise, again in Rose SHG we can say that individual micro enterprise, 2 members want to take up individual micro enterprise. The type of ME is bakery and kirana shop. The support required is loan and training and loan. In Lotus SHG, only one person wants to take up individual micro enterprise. She wants to take up pottery, and the support required is loan or market support. Again, for group micro enterprise, there is one group which encompasses 4 members, 2 who are from the SHG fold and 2 who are from the non-SHG fold, and the type of ME they want to do is beauty parlor, for which they require loan and training. Similarly, Lotus SHG, again one group which is 4 members wants to start a restaurant as an ME, and the support they require is training or loan. So when we fill the VO summary sheet, we first write against each SHG the number of individuals who want to do individual micro enterprise and number of groups who want to do group micro enterprise. So we know that 2 people from Rose SHG and 2 people from Lotus SHG wanted to take up individual micro enterprise, and 1 person from Rose SHG and 1 person from Lotus SHG wanted to take up one group from Rose SHG and 1 group from Lotus SHG wanted to take up group enterprise. So this is what you have to keep in mind, that here the data that is being filled in the column of number of groups demanded for group micro enterprise, the number for group has to be written, not the number of individuals who are within that group who want to take up that micro enterprise. Now we will also summarize the type of support. So here loan has been demanded by 5 people, training has been demanded 3, market support 1. So the total comes about as 9. We will also capture the data for micro enterprises for beneficiaries outside the SHG fold who belong to the vulnerable and the poorest of the poor category. So here 3 people want to make a group and want to start an ME, a tailoring ME for which they want training and loan. So here what we have to see is that under the column of name of beneficiaries, the name of all the people who want to take up group micro enterprise has to be written. Name of the head of the household for all the members has to be written. Ward name and number can be written for any one member, and whether the group wants to take up a group micro enterprise, which is obvious here. So here we will write group and the total number of members in that group who would form and take up this micro enterprise. Under type of ME, the kind of ME they are interested in, and the support in terms of training, loan, subsidy or whatever. So this is how we do VO consolidation for entitlement plan as well as livelihood plan. There are few things that we have to keep in mind. The VO plan for entitlement, when is consolidated, will only have numbers, and below it the SHG plan needs to be attached so that it becomes easier for anybody going through the plan to refer to these numbers. In a very similar way, when a VO summary sheet or consolidation sheet for livelihood is being prepared, it is important that the numbers for the people who are interested in individual farming, group farming, under an SHG, interested in individual animal husbandry, group animal husbandry, individual micro enterprise, group micro enterprise has to be listed down. It is also important to list down the total number of different kinds of supports that are required by the people and the groups, and it is also important that the data for the people who are from outside the SHG fold is being captured at this level. So this was the VO consolidation and VO summary sheet. I hope you will be able to understand and you will be able to do it in a much better and a more concise manner. Thank you.